Today's speaker is Abigail Rebecca of Illuminated Leaders. She believes that the world needs more fully expressed, fully empowered, wealthy female leaders, and she offers products and services to help you embrace your inner show-off and to put yourself on center stage. Welcome, Abigail Rebecca.
So lovely to see. It's been so long since I've seen you, and it's just so lovely to connect up with you again.
I think it's been 3 years maybe
Yeah,
since I've seen you, and it just is, it feels like it was yesterday.
yeah, there's actually. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me onto your wonderful summit.
Oh, I am thrilled to have you, and I know the listeners are going to be absolutely thrilled to hear everything you have to say. So, first of all, can you tell us how you got into Illuminate Leaders? I mean, this is huge.
Oh gosh, where do I start? Okay, so I had a very unusual upbringing, I would say, in comparison to most people. I was brought up as a third generation Jehovah's Witness. And I don't know if you're very familiar with that organization, but it's very controlling. It's like a cult-like organization, controlled by men in suits. Women don't really play a part in that organization, apart from, supporting their husbands and having children and being housewives. And I was also raised by a very controlling father. And I'd just like to state for the record, actually, when I tell this story, that he did it out of love.
Yes.
Like, he totally thought that this was the right way to raise us, to raise me and my siblings. But, very controlling, very well respected within the congregation. He was an elder within the congregation, and really had a lot of control over us, how we spoke, what we wore, who we were friends with. So very frustrating and restricted, disempowering childhood. And I knew all through my childhood that I just didn't want to be there. I was really unhappy, and I kind of tried to almost like become somebody like put on an act so I would survive really within that situation. So I'd be one person at home so that I would be conforming and surviving. And then when I was at school, I became another person, because if you can imagine, I would have been a real target for bullies. So, because I was so different, and there were certain things that we didn't celebrate Christmas, and, so I was seen as it's very unusual. Yeah. So it's almost like this persona that I was putting on at school so that I would still be popular and I wouldn't get picked on. And I just felt like I just put on these false personas all the way through where I was growing up. Anyway, suffice to say that I left home when I was 16. I left home. I really had to choose between freedom of being fully self-expressed or my friends and family, and I chose freedom. And it was a very difficult decision to make, but it really taught me a lot about resilience and tenacity, and really honoring myself and the person that I wanted to be in the life that I wanted to lead. So I just went then on this incredible journey. I went and worked overseas for 10 years. I worked and lived in a different country every 6 months. Again, really pretending to be somebody that I really wasn't. I was like the party girl, and, like the life and soul of the party, and a big drinker and a real socialite. But I wasn't really that. I was just doing it to fit in. So I did that for 10 years, and don't get me wrong, I had an amazing life. I then I always laugh and say I accidentally fell into corporate, but I did literally accidentally fall into corporate. I had no inclination whatsoever to go and work in a corporate role. And I did, because I felt like I had to have some responsibility in my life and get a career and get a normal job. So then I worked in corporate for 10 years and was very successful. I was a senior leader within corporate. I managed big teams of people. I used to coach and develop and mentor, hundreds and hundreds of people within my organization around speaking on stage and being highly visible and getting promotion. I was very proud of the fact that I was a leader that really developed my team.
Yeah.
But again, playing a role so that I'd fit in and I'd look good. I didn't feel like I was somebody in corporate. And then something happened in my life. I developed a really bad heart condition, and I realized that it was just being caused by the fact that I was just so unhappy in my life, and I really wanted to do something differently. Like, I just felt like it was my time to really start to look at, okay, these are all the acts that I've played with in my life. Like, really, who is me? Who am I? Who am I? So I left corporate, I set up my own business, and as a result of that, I really sort of started to really start on my own journey into spirituality and personal development and consciousness and self-awareness. You know, cliched, but a journey to discover myself. Met the most amazing people, but really realized that I'd put up barriers and blocks in my life. So I'd been so worried about being singled out as different and being picked on. I, I'd I'd really stepped away. I mean, don't get me wrong. I could go into a party and I could work that room, Phoenix. Like, literally, I'm outgoing,
Yeah.
but I would only take that relationship so far. And then there would be barriers, there'd be blocks. And I started to realize that that was really stopping me from making real true connections with people. And it was really stopping me actually from growing my business. So that was a real discovery, and that was a real aha moment for me, to really start to learn to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And drop down my defenses and realize that really this life is about connecting in with other human beings. And other people give you energy and you give them energy, and it's just this beautiful relationship. And especially with women, like, I love working with women. Don't get me wrong, I love men. Men are incredible. I live with one. They are here to have such an incredible role within the new paradigm, but I truly believe that they're here to drive forward the goddesses.
I love that.
And I'm standing for the goddesses,
Oh,
and I love creating sisterhoods of women, which is why I put together Illuminated Leaders, which is a real beautiful global community of, I call them like really successful, like business-headed women with a touch of goddess. They fully tap into their goddess when they become Illuminated Leaders.
wow.
So all these retreats and things that I put on just to kind of support women within that journey, so that they can really, you know, tap into their higher self. And there's this real thing, I think, around us as women, around not wanting to be seen as showing off, not wanting to be judged, especially by other women, by other jealous women, that we quite often see in the world. And also, like, this, I don't want to be too much. Like, if you see, like, a lot of women in the public eye that are seen as too much, they really get a bad rap from patriarchy. I mean, completely. So it's really showing women that they can be truly within their power and speak their truth and go out there and embrace their inner show off and spread their message. And, you know, it's an empowering thing. We shouldn't be hiding behind conformity. We should be going out there and not being suppressed. So I've kind of gone on this journey where I was very disempowered and suppressed, to just, you know, really hopefully championing, empowering women.
Holy smokes, you just have so much information in that short amount of time. I'm almost like, wait, I've got to rewind because I had a million things that came up as you were talking, and I was just sitting here going, first of all, you have walked a hero's journey, right? Because, you know, you have found the blessings out of how you were raised, and you made such courageous decisions at such a young age to step out into the world and do something different. And it sounds like it was magical for you, and it was never a hardship once you made that conscious decision to leave. And that through everything that you have learned, you are now in a better position to turn around and teach other women how to take the mask off and how to really be authentic. And through that, then letting their light shine. Did I succinctly get that, or did I miss anything?
Put it in a nutshell, Phoenix.
Wow, what a story. I mean, really, you've got to write a book.
Oh, yeah, we
I've
were
gone
talking
through
about
it.
this earlier, weren't we?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
You've got a
I
good book there.
I actually though I think I'm like more I think I'm more aligned to a Netflix series.
I love that.
Like, I'm really inspired by Goop at the moment on Netflix. So I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe both.
I could kind of see a little Outlander in there too, maybe. I don't know. So when women come to you, what is it that they're normally saying to you that makes you say, I know I can help you?
Yeah, you know the phrase that I love that question as well, by the way, Phoenix.
Yeah.
The phrase that I hear all the time is when women talk about that fingernail climb to the top, and they do the action. They're like, you know, Abby, that fingernail climb to the top. So I I attract um, really very intelligent, clever, brilliant female entrepreneurs who have got great business acumen. But it really has been that fingernail climb to the top. So they've built their business through sheer hard work,
Yeah.
and they've often been doing it on their own. So, okay, they've had a community that they can tap into, you know, maybe a network, but really not what they really need to support and collaborate and to really build that wonderful community that, you know, enriches us and sort of raises us up. Um, they often, you know, as I mentioned before, they often say to me, I really want to do this, but I'm worried about what people will think of me. They'll think that I'm showing off. They'll think that I'm too much. I hear those expressions a lot. And I hear really, you know, stuck. I feel like I'm stuck. I've reached a plateau. So it's normally women who, you know, are so brilliant at building business. Maybe they've come from corporate and that's the business that they know how to build. Or maybe they've gone and worked with other, you know, coaches or entrepreneurs that have shown them the logistics on how to build a business, but that only gets you so far. And so many of the women, actually, if I think about my just recent retreat that I did last year, a couple of the women there are in really amazing mastermind groups. They're based in the US. They're in high value mastermind groups. But what they're missing is that female connection, like that goddess energy. So they're learning all the strategy, and the strategy is so important. We all know that. So we need to know how to market to our list and how to build a list and, you know, how to launch a program and how to build
Yada,
a
yada, yada.
and all that. We know that, and it has to be done. That's the
Yes,
action, right?
yes, yes.
But then what about the wonderful um, traits and gifts that we have as women? You know, the real divine feminine power, the creativity, the connection, the collaboration, the receiving of all that abundance. You know, I always talk about our wombs. I don't know if you've ever heard of Lisa Lister. She's this incredible entrepreneur who's based in the UK. She's written a book called Witch. I love it. And she talks about her, like our wombs are our cauldrons. You know, that's where we create our magic, and that's where we create all this abundance. And I'm like, yes, it's like tapping into this goddess energy. A lot of women unfortunately don't have that. They're so disconnected from it. Obviously all the stuff that we've inherited over the thousands of years of patriarchy, we all know that. But also, you know, how society says a leader should be. So, you know, when we talk about strong leaders, it's always male traits that we talk about. You know, they get things done, they're in action, you know, they're a go-getter.
It's true. It's
He's a
true.
they're a person who can be relied on. And don't get me wrong, it's so important, because you can't you can't build a business by meditating on a mountain for 10 years.
Right.
But you need to be in action. But it's also really bringing these women back to, hang on a minute now, we got all the answers here, ladies. Like, we are truly powerful. Like, let's tap into this. So a lot of the women that approach me know that they can't put their hands on it, but they know that they're missing this. So they come to me. Well, first of all, they come to me because they know they need to be highly visible, and of course I'm going to show them how to be visible and how to put themselves center stage. But what they don't know is that they're really going to be like, you know, tapping into that beautiful goddess energy that's all like bubbling up inside of us.
Oh my goodness. And so So talk some more about the goddess within us.
Mm. I, you know what, for, especially within my corporate career, for 10 years in my corporate career, I completely suffocated my inner goddess.
Mhm.
Completely. I wouldn't even allow her to rise up. Um, I was climbing very, very quickly at the corporate ladder. And any of the real feminine leadership traits that I displayed, such as, you know, nurturing, caring, collaboration, just the real tenderness that we can really, which is so powerful when building relationships. And business is all about relationships, and we're so good at building relationships, but it's like suffocated. So I would be told all of the time, oh, you're too nice, you're too nice, you're too soft on your team, you need to be more like them, like pointing to the board of directors, you need to be more like them. And I was like, yeah, I need to be more like them. So I tried my utmost to be like them, and I got there, and it was celebrated. It was like, yes, you're just an amazing dynamic leader, and you know, you get things done and you drive things forward. And you know, I was managing people out my team because they weren't performing, and just like, just being like a leader that they wanted me to be. And I was like so disconnected and so unhappy, and I was like leading this double life. So I'd be like that in corporate, and then I'd come back and put my flip-flops on, my Havaianas and my cut-off jeans, and go away in my VW camper van, and you know, try and release my inner hippie. And then the next day, like, put on my corporate suit and go back into corporate. So um and I truly believe that that's why my heart, you know, I literally broke my heart. She was just like waiting to break out of me. And I always kind of thought that we were chatting off camera actually about women's circles, and about really creating connection with women, and you know, really being vulnerable. And I always saw vulnerability as weak, really weak. I couldn't tolerate it. I couldn't even witness another woman crying. I just could not tolerate it. Even though I cried quite a lot because I was so unhappy. If somebody else cried, I was like, I can't deal with you. Like, you're weak, and I don't want to be around weak people. I'll go and play with these men over here who are strong, who I want to be with. So for me, sort of being on this journey, and really learning how to be vulnerable, especially with other women, uh, and this whole healing process with women, actually, um, and the trust, and the just the love, and really understanding that this is so powerful.
It sounds like,
Running. Go on, sorry.
oh no, I was just thinking it sounds like you're helping them to be more authentic. You know,
Yeah,
hmm,
yeah,
this is
more
who I
authentic,
am.
and yeah, aligned. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we are who we are. And you've, you know, it's all about bringing bliss into your life and your business, and
Mm.
really being sensitive for the things that really turn you off, and really, really be conscious of the things that turn you on, and just seek out the joy all of the time. So yeah, and then all the beautiful stuff that comes, you know, from really knowing your worth. Yogi Bhajan has this wonderful quote around, you know, um, when you know your value, like when you know your value, the whole world values you. I think I've just misquoted him, it's on my website actually. But when you value yourself, the whole world values you. So it's
Yes.
really about, it's about valuing and honoring yourself, that self-esteem piece. I'm good enough just being who I am, and you know, I'm going to love and nourish myself.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. What a value you are giving to women everywhere. So, gosh, let's talk about your retreats. Now, what sets these apart from like the mundane, we're just going to get together?
Okay, so what sets them apart? Well, I don't know if it sets them apart, but it's, but I mean, I really see the beauty in nature and surroundings. Like, I love to surround myself with beautiful things. So first of all, the retreats are always somewhere really amazing. Like last year we did one at the end of the year in the UK in a beautiful house in the English countryside. There were pheasant and deer roaming around. It was just beautiful. It was a energetically, it was a really amazing house actually. In April, my next retreat is going to be in the south of France. There will be others that will be coming. So, you know, really gorgeous stages, I guess, like containers to really sort of not only kind of bring joy into the time that we're there, but also I love manifesting, and the way I manifest is that I just go to places that I want to be in all the time. Yes,
I
so,
hear
so
you.
if I want to manifest a house, I'm like, I'm going to go and find a way to get inside that house. If I want
Exactly.
to manifest a car, I'm like, I'm going to sit in that car and take it for a test drive. So there's something really powerful about that. But the retreats are, they're very intimate. So I bring 6 women together. I think the biggest feedback that I've had from my women around the retreats is the fact that the women are carefully picked. So it's not just like bums on seats. You know, I'm very particular about the women that I invite, the energy of the women that I invite, and that they're the right fit. So, you know, it might be not necessarily that that woman isn't a good fit for my retreat, but it might be that she's not a good fit for this retreat because I know already who's there. So I'm very mindful of the women. I'm very particular about that. And it takes a lot longer to fill the places, but that means then that it's more powerful, and energetically it's like higher vibration completely. So it's all about the high vibes, and really sort of taking these women through transformation and change. So these are women who, you know, they've already got success within their business, so like they're there, but they want to go there.
Yeah.
And like, so where are they being visible within their lives? Where are they stopping being visible? So making them very aware and conscious of that. And then, okay, what is it that is stopping you from there? So we really do some deep transformational work where we really look at our blocks, like where are they coming from, and let's like just come to terms with it and really understand why we act in a certain way. Because, you know, I think true transformation, it doesn't mean that you're going to change yourself as a person. You're just going to have a different consciousness level. So my resistance is never going to go away.
Yeah.
Like every time I go to the next level, it's always there. But
Yeah.
the more work I do on myself, the more conscious I am of it. So the easier it is to go through it. So there's that whole piece of work. So there's real male energy, like action. You walk away with an action plan, a 6-month visibility plan that you can use, that your team can implement, and you can go away and be hugely successful. But it's also the beautiful, like nurturing, you know, there's meditation and there's breath work and there's yoga, and there's, on top of all of that, there's just this wonderful community of women that you can really tap into and connect with. And there's something so beautiful when you get a circle of women coming together with no competition, and you can be really deeply vulnerable with one another. And then when you leave the retreat, you're not just leaving on your own, you're leaving with this whole group of women. I mean, my women just, they go away and they work with each other. I mean, I love it. I've got the best job in the world because I'm just creating these, I'm just bringing these women together, and they're doing their thing, and then they're going off and doing their thing together. I mean, it is pretty incredible. And you know, if you want to know more about my retreats, just go onto my website, abigailrebecca.com. On the front page, there's a compilation video on there with all my client testimonials, and you'll just see the transformation that these women go through and what can be created when we start to collaborate and, you know, we bring this goddess energy together. I mean, it is awesome. It really is.
I think you've hit two really key things with your retreats, besides all the incredible things that you're bringing to that. The underlying thing is that, you know, professionally, we're only as good as we are personally. So it's our personal development that has to shift in order for our professional development to shift also. And I love how you have made us aware of that. And the other part is the essential role of community and supporting us in our changes. And I think as women, we need that maybe more than men do. And maybe I'm not accurate in that statement, but at least the women that I'm around, it seems like we rely on that support and that community far more in deeper emotional ways than maybe men do. And so I can really see why your retreats are so monumental for highly successful women who just want to go farther. To know that we don't have limits, they're just perceptions, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think once you kind of what once you tap into that community, like everybody that goes on my retreats then joins the wider Illuminated Women community. So, and
Mhm.
then then that you're in this community with like-minded women,
Yes.
and that's so beautiful. And it's so difficult to find sometimes. I think it's so difficult to find women who have a business head and a prosperity mindset with a goddess energy.
It is difficult, you're right, to embrace both, where it's a unique niche in the world that is not taught. And as you say, many times we're put down if we exhibit the goddess versus, the CEO.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
that's my
That's your gift.
yeah, that is really my higher purpose, to do that, to bring these women together. I said to you before, I just facilitate them. I am a
Yeah,
client of Illuminate.
yeah, yeah. It
I'm
has a
going
life
through this
form. Yeah,
journey as well. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
Well, and because we never stop, we never stop growing or changing or shifting in our consciousness. And the minute we think we have stopped, then we really are stunting our growth.
Definitely.
Oh, this is so wonderful. Now, I understand you have a free gift for the audience. Would you like to explain that?
I do. So it's Big Change Small Steps roadmap. So it's just it's if you click on the link that I'm sure you're going to provide,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's really like the first 5 steps. If anybody first came to work with me, these are the things that I would really share with a woman. So it's like the first 5 steps to really become highly visible and to create, just this um, energy where you're raising your profile and creating extraordinary success. So I just take you through the 5 steps, very simple steps. It might be stuff that you've done before, but it's important to revisit, because every time that we up level, and I'm sure, if you want to do this, you're interested in up leveling.
Yeah.
So when we up level, when we grow, when we expand, it's time to really start to look at, okay, how am I going to do this, in a beautiful organic way. So it's just me taking you through that process with
Oh,
the
that's
roadmap.
beautiful. Oh, what a great way for people to start and then to know when they're ready that you're there with your retreats. Woohoo! And a book someplace in the future.
Yeah, but yeah, there's definitely, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, as I said, I don't know if it's going to be a book or a Netflix series. There'll be some. I'm sure there'll be something. I'd love to do it. I really would. I really, really would. Yeah,
Why
one
not
day.
both?
Both.
Yeah. I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, this is so wonderful. Abigail, Rebecca, do you have anything else that you'd like to share with the audience before we close for today?
Um, I think really my parting words would be to just for anybody that's watching this to know that like you're not alone, and if you're finding it difficult, if you're finding it a struggle, it's not meant to be difficult and a struggle. Like, you don't have to go through this turmoil in order to create your story and in order to make a difference in the world. Like, there's a whole community out there that you can just create and connect to, and there will be people out there that will be able to support and inspire you as you grow. So I think the very fact that you're watching this amazing training that Phoenix is putting on, like Phoenix, you're going out and you're creating a community, of experts to be on this summit. And yeah, it's just to really just go out there and reach out and connect with people. And it's just so beautiful once you start to really deeply connect with people and share your vision with them. Like, it's incredible what starts to happen when you start to do that.
Yes, we're never really as alone as we think we are, but sometimes it's hard to find that community. So that's one of the things I love about these interview series is that it creates a bigger network throughout the world.
Yeah, definitely. And if you can't find your community, create one yourself. That's what I'm doing.
I love it. I love it. Be empowered and do it yourself. Good for you. Oh, thank you so much, Abigail Rebecca, for being on today. This has just been fabulous. I just have enjoyed it so much.
It's
So
been
it
a real honor, honestly. It's just been so lovely hanging out with you. Thank you so much.
feels like a coffee club, doesn't it? We should be having our coffee as we're talking. Well, there we are. And I want to thank the listeners too for having your coffee with us today too, and hope to see you on the rest of the interview series. So thank you so much for being here. Namaste.
That now.